the meals for the kids, the children, you know you need a proper kitchen. So everything has to be put in place, a good stove, how you call that?
Refrigerator?
Refrigerator. You have to have everything in your kitchen that you're supposed to have. Minimum 2 sinks in your kitchen
Right.
for when you're washing your plates, your cups, whatever you have to do there.
And the babies.
And
Baby rooms.
yeah, and also one of the requirements are that the baby room have to have a baby kitchen so that you can
Oh, really?
prepare the baby meals in the kitchen, the bottles, what have you, the cereals. Or if you don't have a baby kitchen,
Right.
then you can use the regular kitchen, the big kitchen, but you have a separate corner that you prepared all the meals for the children, the babies. And what we just do sometimes is we also come out with a labor safety to check if everything is in place. Sometimes you have maybe a too smooth of a floor.
Wow.
If the floor is smooth, you get advice on that. Or sometimes with different things that you have in your daycare center that can be hazardous for teachers and children, we will touch on that also. So we don't want no kind of things lying around, hanging around. You know, sometimes you have a drop card and then you pass it from one to the next. No, none of that. We don't want nothing like that lying around. So they will come in and they will give the assessment and you will know there and then what you're supposed to be looking out for. Also, it's very important when we come in with the labor inspectors. Sometimes a daycare center did not say, well, I have XYZ persons working in my daycare center. We come in and we check in for the documentation. Some person will say, I forgot my ID at home, I forgot this at home. It is very important if you know you're not, you don't have your permanent residency, that you walk with all your documentations, have them at all times with you, because we just check those things as well. So put everything together. The safety is very important for children and for the adults that are working in the daycare center.
I would like to ask you, why is it that it is so important for them to have a separate kitchen for the baby?
You know, sometimes you have the tendency in not preparing the food in a proper manner.
Okay.
Because let's say you prepare the food and in any way you leave this open, that open. No, you have to do it clean and neat. It's a baby. The child just reached on this earth.
Right.
So you really have to do things in a very hygienic way for the children. Not even though it's a baby or it's a bigger child. So everything has to be neat. A baby room, you should never leave the baby room unattended. That's to prevent the babies being alone. Because some persons have the tendency in saying the babies are sleeping. I mean, if it is my baby at home, I know how I'm looking at that child, but once you've been paid to look after a baby, you should supervise that child at all times.
So isn't having a monitor sufficient enough?
No,
No.
no, that's
No?
not sufficient. That is not sufficient, because when you have a monitor, you will be hearing all kind of sounds around you. This child is talking to you, you're talking with this one, you listening to music, you're watching TV, and your mind is not on that monitor. So it's preferable you be in the baby room itself. And if you have to leave the baby room, please ask someone to hold on for you until you're back.
Right.
So majority of times you constantly have to tell persons you have to continuously monitor your baby room.
Right. So at
Because we don't
all
want no
times
kind of
they-
accidents
right.
in a baby room.
Children on the whole should not be left
Not be,
unattended.
yeah. On a whole, do not leave the children unattended. Yeah.
Well, that's nice to know, because I never knew that a school or daycares, should have a separate kitchen for babies.
Yeah. They
You
do.
know?
They do.
Okay, but that's nice to know. Okay, this question might come a bit, I don't know how to phrase it, but I'm going to be blunt. Have you ever had to take the decision to close a daycare?
Yes, I have. I have taken the decision, I think, about 3 times to close a daycare center. A closure of a daycare center doesn't happen from one day to the next.
Right.
Closure of a daycare center will take place in a manner of you go into the daycare center and you see a dangerous situation. You will talk to this person and ask them to comply with the rules, with the rules and the regulations. Once it is something that you have to take a decision there and then now, you will have to do it, because it's better to make the decision to close the daycare center than to keep it open and then you hear you have an accident. One of the daycare centers that I closed was a situation where it was very, very dangerous for the children and also for the caregivers. The owner was not seeing it. I'm accustomed in the area, so nobody wouldn't do me nothing, wouldn't do the children nothing, but it was a situation unacceptable as a parent. And a lot of times I just ask myself, do parents really go into daycare centers, walk around, check? Because one of your questions earlier was, can I call an inspector to ask her which is the best daycare center? I got that question many times. Give me the top 10. I won't give you no top 10. I will ask you which area are you living in.
Right.
I will give you the daycare centers in that area. The top 10, you will have to choose your top 10.
Right.
I mean, for me, I know which is the top 10,
Exactly.
Right.
but it is not my duty,
Right.
neither my task, to tell nobody this is the top 10, because then I will be bringing down one and putting the next one up. But then you have sometimes when you tell a daycare center, hey, you're doing well, that's the wrong thing to say. And sometimes they would say, yes, but I put up this, I put up a new curtain, I paint the wall, and you didn't give me a compliment.
Right.
I mean, sometimes you're willing to give the compliment, but you've seen something else
Right. That maybe
that is
has a
much more important to talk about than to talk about the pretty curtain and the nicely painted wall.
Right.
That is not important at that moment.
So you don't think that it's okay to actually give a parent a suggestion that a daycare might be better than the other?
No, I don't think so, because as a parent, sometimes you have new parents and sometimes you have a seasoned parent.
Right.
You need to go into a daycare center. You're not only looking at beauty, the beauty from outside or the beauty from the hallway that you stepped in. Hey, this is beautiful. But you have to ask questions, ask a lot of questions, because no question is a stupid question. Ask to go in. Let me see your baby room. Let me see your toilet. Let me see your sleeping area. Where did the children sleep? Ask a lot of questions
Right.
as a parent and as a human being.
Yes, but I have had the experience when I was looking for daycares for my son, that I approached one daycare and I was told when I came I cannot enter because the children are sleeping. Is that something normal?
I mean, that is maybe the rules of
That particular.
that particular center. But according to me as a parent, if I'm looking for a daycare center for my son, one of my sons, I think I can enter into the daycare. I want to see where the children are sleeping. I'm not going to go into the daycare
Exactly.
to talk loud. I'm going in to see how are they sleeping, where are they sleeping, is it adequate for my son to sleep between other children here? Can I give a suggestion? But no, you cannot enter. I heard it before, that parents are prohibited from going into the daycare centers. Or if you want to come and see, you have to call me before.
Right.
Why should I call you before? I mean, when my sons were small, I didn't used to call. I used to do spot checks. And I was never turned away. So I don't see why it is now a big issue that you have to call before, let me know you're coming, when you're coming. So it doesn't sound right.
Exactly, and I
As
think
a parent.
as a parent, yes, as a parent, I would be very much concerned if I was told, you have to call before you come, because then it sends up the alarm
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And gone are the days when parents no longer know what to look for or ask for. What I tell parents is to shop, just like you shop for clothes and groceries.
Shop
you
around.
shop around. If you're in the Colby area and that's where you prefer to have daycares, we have 10 daycares in Colby. Go to the 10 daycare centers, ask questions. Because, this is your child. You're going to be paying for service.
Exactly.
So shop. Ask questions like Denise said.
And the idea is when you find the correct daycare center that you like and you know that your son or your daughter would like, you're supposed to have a good communication also with that center. And to be on the safe side, I know a lot of parents do not ask a lot of questions. They just say, oh, my neighbor going there, this one going there, so I put my child there. Ask a lot of questions. I even have the tendency to say, parents, ask to see an ordinance, ask to see a report from the inspectors. Nobody asks that.
But you know what it is too? I think as parents, we have that a lot. I'm very outspoken, and sometimes I believe because of my outspokenness, you get labeled as being the troublesome one, or the one that's
disgusting.
right, the one that's harassing and so on. But I believe, just like you said, if you're paying for a service,
You have
I
to get
have
the
all
service.
right to ask a question. I have all rights to find out what's going on. It's my child as well. And I believe that a lot of parents are afraid to be labeled as, or they would have the concern, and of course with each other we can discuss it. But when we say let's form that unit and go and discuss it as a unit, people start to back down, and then it always boils down to be maybe the one or two vocal ones, and then
Yeah.
end up getting the bad name. We'll have to take a break, and then we'll come right back because we still have a lot of other issues we have to discuss.
Okay.
Stay tuned. We will be right back with A Better Place.
Are you looking for that prescription that the doctor just gave to you and you can't find at no other pharmacy? Well, the Orange Grove Pharmacy is where you should be. The Orange Grove Pharmacy, we carry a wide range of American and European prescriptions and drugstore items. We also do personal care products. We offer friendly services and 24 hours emergency delivery. Charges may apply. We're open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., Saturdays, 9 to 1 p.m. Orange Grove Pharmacy, supporting a healthy lifestyle.
Welcome back to A Better Place. The topic for today has been so interesting that we do have to bring you a part 2 on the topic of daycare centers. I would like to thank our guests for today, Ms. Denise Cornette-Remou and Ms. Bernadette Stevens, for having been here today. And I do invite them back for our second part on daycare centers. I'm your host, Angelique Martis-Remou. Do stay tuned for our part 2 on daycare centers.